What is your profession?
Ranks of the Mordian 50th Rifles. I'll go through the army that I'm using today, and of course Commissar Cat Kylo will be overseeing the proceedings. So starting off over here, we've got 3 squads of assault infantry. The first one has a power sword and a melter gun. The second one has a plasma pistol and a flamer, and of course a bugle, because no guard assault force is complete without a bugle. And then this one has a power sword, a flamer, and a drummer. Both the drummer and the bugle are just for cosmetics, guys. They don't actually have any rules. Second 3 squads is a melter gun and a power sword, classic Metal Mordian squad, backed up by another one of those with a flamer and a power sword. And then we've also got a flamer, a plasma pistol, and power sword in this squad. Final 3 squads are for fire support. We've got a missile launcher and grenade launcher, starting with a chainsword. Got that repeated again, and the last one's got a heavy bolter and a grenade launcher. Final bits of fire support. We have the 2 mortar squads here, and then for specialists we have a squad of veterans with triple plasma gun. The sergeant has a plasma pistol and a power sword. And we also have the Ogryn Auxiliary, 6 Ogryns with ripper guns ready to smash some Xenos skulls in. Leading this force today for the characters, we have the junior officers. We have a power sword and a las pistol on this guy. He is armed with the relic, the dagger of Tusaka, which will allow him to outflank. And typically, he leads that squad of veterans in an outflanking manoeuvre, which has been quite effective the last few games. We've also got a lieutenant with power fist and a las pistol. And finally, we have 2 company commanders. We have one with a las pistol and an extra relic, the Iron Star of Mordia. You can see that just on his little cape there. And then we also have another officer with a shotgun and las pistol, and this is from the Rogue Trader set, guys. So that's the officers. The support characters, we have new Lord Commissar here. He has a bolt pistol and a power sword. And we've got the old reliable Lord Commissar, the guy who's got the sunglasses on. He's got a bolter and power sword. And finally, leading the force in a spiritual way, we have the Ministorm Priest, Brother Nathaniel. And he is going to be giving people lots of extra attacks. And typically he ministers over his charges, the Ogryns, who listen to every word that he says with great attention. So there we go, guys. Lots and lots of infantry, and we're going to try and drown the Tau force in waves after waves of guardsmen. Let's see what the Xenos are bringing to the battlefield today. So here we have the Foul Xenos force. We're playing against the Tau today, and Johnny will be commanding these forces. So Johnny, do you want to run through your list?
Okay, so I've got a battalion here. I've got a Fireblade, and he's got through Unity Devastation and Pure Tide Undergun Chip, so any unit within 6 inches of him can shoot at a unit that he designates that he can see, and 6s give them AP -1 to wound.
Ah, okay. Super recruit.
Yeah, so he's just a highly trained recruit. He's worked his way up through the ranks, just story of rags from riches. Then I have 3 units of Fire Warriors, so I've got a unit of 9 with a Marker Light and 2 units of 6, both with Marker Lights. And then I have 2 Devilfish for them to go in, and they both have smart missile systems and the pulse cannon, burst cannon.
Cool.
I then have 2 units of 6 stealth suits, both with ATS. They're AP -1, 4 shots each. So that's 20 shots per unit, AP -1. It's quite expensive for the unit, but they do eat through most stuff, and they're very manoeuvrable.
24 shots.
24 shots, yeah, sorry.
I mean, I shouldn't really tell you that.
20 when I sometimes run them in 5, but I thought I'd go for 6 in the end. And they've both got 2 Marker Lights each. I should have said the Cadre Fireblade also has a Marker Light, of course. And then finally I've got a Commander. He's not leading the force, he's just overseeing the force. And he's got 3 missile pods and the ATS, so that missile pod's AP -2. So yeah, overall just quite a small, elite, fast-moving force. Kind of hard to hit, which is bad for the guard. You know, it's just a scout force in the fluff.
Well, yeah, I think it'll be quite interesting because I always have lots of bodies, but my anti-tank is relatively limited. So these 2 Devilfish are going to actually be kind of difficult for me to deal with, and you don't really need to bring a hammerhead against me. So the Devilfish is like a cheaper version that brings more anti-infantry. So actually, it's
more missile pods.
Yeah, much more.
Because this guy's AP -1. If he just picks one of your units and I just sling missile pods into you or whatever.
Yeah, definitely.
Do the trick.
So the sledgehammer that is the Imperial Guard infantry force meets the lightning fast sort of recon element of this this Tau battle group. So let's get back to the field of battle, and we'll show you what the map looks like after both armies have deployed. So here we have the serried ranks of the Mordian 50th Rifles deployed in this Dawn of War deployment against the Tau scum.
Narrates Ugg, the lead Ogrin. Serried is a big word.
Tau deployed advanced recon elements as they typically do out here. It is no surprise that they are coveting the Genestealer cult vehicle, these scummy Xenos. Leading over to here we have the Tau Devilfish and Commander hiding behind this precinct patrol car. So if we take a wider scope look at the battlefield, we've got a fortress leading to a sort of outlying building here. Main Generatorum in the centre. Arbeits bunker in the centre of the Imperial defence line, a lone sort of AA gun on this base, and then patrol cutter in the main Arbeits precinct here, along with some additional fortifications here. The narrative for today is that this base had gone silent. The Imperium suspected that the Tau were involved. They are obviously, of course, at war. When a base goes silent, its enemy is probably the reason that's done it. So they have dispatched this force of Mordian rifles to take back the base. The reason the base went silent so quickly is these Tau recon forces just swept in using their stealth suit technology and just butchered the defenders. They weren't even able to man any of their vehicles or patrol cutters before they were all slaughtered. Fortunately, the Mordian 50 rifles have a lot of experience facing Tau, so they were ready for these stealth elements, and that's why the Tau haven't been able to sort of just as yet sneak around behind them. But let's see what happens in the actual battlefield. So that's the fluff. This base is going to be reclaimed by the Imperial Guard. That's a foregone conclusion, Johnny. So if you'd like to concede now, that would save everyone a lot of time.
If I decide to withdraw, that will be because it's been decided to be tactically the correct option. You know, I can't actually lose. The Tau never lose.
Well,
it's all for the greater good.
So there we go, the Foul Xenos have not done the honourable thing and have decided that they do want to face down His Majesty's most glorious Imperial Guard. So without further ado, let's go through the mission. It is Strategic Gambit. This is where there are 6 objectives on the board. It is Maelstrom. We have 1 in the bunker here, 1 in this command area, 1 being coveted by the Tau. That Genestealer vehicle is obviously very important. 1 on this side of the building and 1 on this side of the fortification, with the last one being a bit of an outlier here in the helipad of the patrol cutter. So Strategic Gambit, for those that aren't aware, is everyone must have 3 cards at all times, If you don't have 3, you draw until you do have 3 Maelstrom cards. And when you get your draw, if you don't like them or you don't think you're going to be able to achieve them, you can discard 2, you can trade 2 in and draw another one. And that one that you draw, when you take your strategic gambit, is worth double points, but can only be scored in your turn. So
it's only worth double in your turn.
It's only worth double in your turn. So if you get a defend on your sort of strategic gambit, it's actually, it's a waste of time unless it helps you. It was an objective you couldn't otherwise have defended.
Yeah, it's not going to give you any benefit.
But no bonus. So there we go. Dawn of War deployment, like I said. Now we've discarded some cards before we've even started, ones that we can't successfully achieve. So the Guard have got rid of Regimental Pride because it's awful. That's where you get a victory point if an enemy character was slain by one of your characters. Well, Johnny only has 2, and I doubt I'm going to get to either one of them, to be honest. Master the Warp, I don't have any Psychers. Witch Hunter, Johnny doesn't have any Psychers. Priority Order Thieves, the one that only a Warlord can get, typically very difficult to achieve. Domination, I doubt I'm going to get to all points on the battlefield. And Overkill, well, I don't have any Ashen Minotaur vehicles, so I can't physically score it. Johnny has discarded before the game begins Blood and Guts.
That was a difficult one.
That was a difficult one for the Tau. Well known for their assault force capabilities. But, sometimes you've just got to, throw a curveball in there.
No.
Again, another one. Unusual for the Tau to throw away Master of the Warp. Well known for their psychic capability. Witch Hunter makes sense. Scour the Skies makes sense. Big Game Hunter, of course, makes sense. And interestingly, gets rid of Kingslayer. Now, that is a good one, Kingslayer, because you can get it, even if you've killed the Warlord in a previous turn. But the Guard characters do tend to be hidden behind slabs of Ogryn.
Yeah,
so
I don't want to have to think about that. I just want to be able to shoot up as much meat as possible. So,
hello, Commissar Cat Kylo. Someone is wanting their food. So before we start the game, the Tau do currently have first turn. They do currently have first turn. And so the Imperial Guard are going to attempt to seize the initiative. Now, we are being monitored by our Lord Commissar here, Kylo. So we should do it.
I hate it when I'm not Imperium because I can't pray to the Emperor.
You can't pray to the Emperor. Do you want to? She's kissed it for good luck. Here we go. It's a 5, so it's a valiant effort. But for the first time in a while, Johnny is going first. Normally, I just seize on him, or he seizes on me. So there we go. Let's see what the Tau draw. Do you want to do that right now?
Yeah, sure thing.
So draw 3 cards. We have Defend Objective 1,
which is yours.
Which is the one that's far off underneath the patrol cutter. We have Overwhelming Firepower. Imagine you're going to want to keep that one. And Defend Objective 6.
Which is this one here.
Which is this one. So definitely doable. And 2 very achievable cards there.
Let's hang on to those for now, I think. Although I'm not really bothered about 1, obviously.
Well, you could... obviously, I'm not giving you any strategic advice here, but you could sort of leapfrog from 6 and then a couple of turns later on to 1.
Well, we'll see. I might trade it in later on, but for now,
I
want to keep those 2, so it's not worth getting rid of 2.
So the Tower are going to aim for Overwhelming Firepower and Defend Objective 6. So, without further ado, we will be back at the end of turn 1 Tau, and I'm just going to declare that the Mordians are in prepared defences. So everyone will be counted as being in cover even when they're not. So let's see what these Foul Xenos forces can do going in to their turn 1. So just whilst Johnny's doing his movement phase, I'm just going to do a few shout-outs regarding the terrain. So the battle map is by Deep Cut Studios. It's actually a really, really nice battle map. This one of my favourite ones. That matches my Mordian bases fairly well. The MDF terrain here is from Pwork War Games. It comes unassembled, unpainted, and it's very easy to put together. Actually, I put together a lot of MDF terrain. This stuff actually is probably the easiest stuff I've put together. If you're wondering what I painted it with, I just used a hell of a lot of the GW texture paint, although you probably could use PVA and sand if you wanted to. Lastly, this resin terrain here comes pre-painted, and that's from GameMat.eu, and so do these small crates as well. So that's just in case you guys are wondering where the terrain's from, and if you want to get hold of it yourself, Deep Cut Studios for the battle map, Pwork War Games for the MDF terrain, and GameMat.eu for this. Oh, and one last shout out, This bunker was actually made for me by, it's a small independent company. I think it's just one guy. It's Pandemonium Miniatures, and it is really, really good.
I love the missile hit in the front.
Yeah, sorry, you guys can't quite see that, but around here you've got like a propaganda post. A guardsman's obviously been executed against that wall. You've also got the missile hit exposing the pipework. So absolutely fantastic bit of terrain, this one. And of course this is the ADL defense kit from Games Workshop. So there you go, all that stuff covered. So now if you want to recreate this battlefield, you can, and we'll be back at the end of the tile turn. So it's one of those games, guys. It's turn 1, and it's one of those games. You can hear Johnny cackling in the background. It's just one of them games.
Delicious, greater good.
So Johnny basically, he didn't have, but let's just set the stage. He didn't have +1 to hit with his marker lights. Okay, he didn't have +1 to hit.
And we got 4 marker lights.
But he did still get 4 marker
Spent
lights.
that command point, but we got one extra.
Still spent his marker light.
Wasn't getting all the look, but...
And then the shooting began. Viola Stratagem shoots 1 squad. Kills an entire Mordian unit. Gets to shoot again. Kills an entire Mordian unit. Then the 3rd squad goes. Kills an entire Mordian unit.
That's not technically true. This squad shot down here.
That's what I mean. Like,
there's one guy left.
Oh yeah,
This guy shot.
Oh yeah, and then he killed that unit over there. So that's from 2 units and 1 thing. He's killed 30 guys. He didn't. He basically he hit above average, like 2/3, and then wounded with everything.
Wasn't that hit above average. I hit basically 12 each time, but then I only failed 1 wound every roll.
It was like 11 or 12 wounds with each lot, like.
Oh, it's great.
And then I've been forced to make about 50
like
saves.
In about 2 editions.
And then to compound the issue, guys, and you can feel the salt coming forth because feel the salt coming forth. And like, I'm not going to hide the salt. Like, it's funny. The salt is funny. The salt brings comedy value. So I've been forced. Oh, and not to forget some spare firepower. Literally, an afterthought came over here and killed 7 out of 10 guys there.
Didn't pass all the saves.
So we've worked out, and I've had to make approximately 50 saves this term, of which I have made 5. So I have made.
It's 14. You've made 5.
40. It's over 40, slightly less than 50. It's between 40 and 50 saves.
Short, you lost 37 dudes.
Yeah, I've made. So the Mordians have drawn their cards. It wasn't a great draw, to be honest. It wasn't a bad one. It was just a nice average draw. So in the first round, we drew these 3 cards. Advance, which I didn't want because of the mortars. Secure Objective 2, which is there. And then Skylar Sky, which I did keep because obviously Johnny's got drones.
Easy kill.
So I traded those 2 in and drew another one, which was Defend Objective 1, which is the one that's all the way over there. Now I moved my junior officer with the power fist over there to.
All those other guys are dead.
All those other guys are dead to claim that objective. So I will get it, but I won't get double points because I didn't score it in my turn. You have to get it in your turn.
You also move these guys here.
In terms of movement and what actually happened during the turn, so I moved and advanced the ogre into a storm of ripper gun fire. Even though they're hitting on 5, they were able to kill the 2 drones. The rest of these 2 squads and the characters combined their fire and were able to kill a stealth suit, which is actually a big deal. It's 4 shots.
Missile launcher did it.
Missile launcher actually did it with a CP reroll. And these 2 squads went into this squad of fire warriors and killed 2. And then these mortars here went into this squad of fire warriors and killed another 2. And then these 2 squads advanced here to help screen the officer. Just move the giant pile of dead out of the way. To screen the officer from that Delphish coming over there and stopping me from claiming the objective. So
I also have Defend Objective 1.
Johnny does get defend. He's got Defend Objective 1 as well. So we are fighting over that objective. At the end of my turn, Johnny does get his Defend Objective 6. So he's got 5 points at the end of turn. And I was able to get Scour the Skies and First Strike. So I've got 2 points. And I should get this one, which will put me on 4 points at the end of turn 1. So despite the blows the Mordian Iron Guard have taken, we are not too far behind on points, or 1 point behind. Let's see what the tower can do going into their turn 2. So it was another good turn by the tower. They managed to shred this squad up here. We actually need to take a leadership test on them, unless I want to spend 2 CP to keep them around, which I think I will do, which leaves me on 3 CP. And the reason for that is because I want to keep that missile launcher and that crack grenade launcher. He'll spend a CP to keep Trevor the Ogren around. Unfortunately, he was doing actually really well. There was 3 Ogrens left after pretty much everything had shot into them, bar 1 stealth team and the commander. And Johnny was initially going to shoot these mortars with the commander, but he decided that 3 Ogren was still too much of a threat. So he put the commander into them and he was able to kill 2. Then used the 1d3 battle shock stratagem so that he wouldn't run away because the Lord Commissar is giving some leadership 9. So it's still a really good turn. I mean, the Imperial Guard have only got sort of 3 full squads left, and then some scattered squads after turn 2. So it is an absolute massacre at this point. But let's see if the Iron Guard can try and pull something back. We're just going to keep chipping away at the points. I think that's the way to focus now. I do take a lead from them. They lost 3, their leadership 8. So if I get a 6, I'll lose 1 more. Oh, of course. Of course. It's just... This again, my dice roll. Johnny was. We were looking at it. It was like slightly above average, slightly above average. My saves slightly above average or just terrible. So
the Mordians sometimes. I face this horde of infantry all the time. They gotta.
It's just one of those games where, and normally we don't like saying it's a luck game, but it really is.
I have had some nice tasty. The Ogrens ate a lot. To be fair, I was really unlucky with this guy. I rolled a 1 to wound, then a 3. And
new damage,
and a 1 and then a 3, and I spent a CP on that as well.
Yeah, potentially, but it's more that my saves.
The tower, like the strength 5 shots are just.
It's just really difficult, like
-1 on these guys, and then spending 2 command points.
True, but then it's very true, but then I'm spending it's true, but I'm spending 1 CP to get a 5 up save anyway, and then I'm rolling either only 6s or everything else is 1 to 4s. So yeah, it's not a good game for the Guard.
Even though it's like 4 points per ATS, spending the points on the stealth suits to make them maybe -1 is just absolutely incredible. It's really good.
Yeah, it's a really strong core of Johnny's.
2 command points, they can shoot twice.
You can only do that once more, but I suspect he'll probably only need to do it once more. If I can make him use a CP reroll in his turn.
No, that last 2 CPs for that.
So let's see if the Guard can try and claw something back in our turn. Johnny did manage to get secure 6 and he's begun defending 4. Yeah, the tower draw was again fantastic. They got defend 4, which they've got 1,000,000 stealth suits on, and then secure 6. They haven't actually had to move out of their
I had to move this out of
their deployment zone yet, which is again sort of melted to balance that out. But the tower getting
fish, man. What are you on about?
The tower getting a lot of stuff in their favour right now, and the Guard are getting a lot of that isn't in their favour. Trumpets blaring, marching in perfect unison through this gap in the Generatorum. These Mordians unleash volley after volley of lasgun fire, flamers, plasma pistols. This officer extorting 1 squad forwards for the Emperor, whilst quickly extorting the other squad first rank fire, second rank fire. In a blaze of firepower, they actually managed to achieve something. We managed to kill both squads of Tile down to just 2 men in each one. Not enough to make them take a morale check, because even on a 6 they'd pass with their bonding knife ritual, but still a good effort nonetheless. A significant amount of pulse weaponry reduced there.
Each burst killed 1. 1.
Yeah, he was just in range of the shotgun, 2 hits, 2 wounds, and blasted a tower off the ramparts.
This turn. That's to be fair.
To be fair, Johnny was making about 50% when he should have been making about 66%, so not too bad. These guys moved forward. Unfortunately, they weren't able. I think they killed 1 or 2 from that squad, and then a bunch more died from the mortars. The end result being that there's 5 left. It looks like. Johnny did defend that. So how many points are you on?
I think I'm on 8 as well. I've got 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7,
it's so
8,
far
8.
neck and neck, but we have broken cover against the Tau gun line, but we have done some damage to it. Let's see. He's got domination. That's not a good card for him. But again, he is not having to move from his deployment zone.
I think I'll sacrifice those 2 because I'll never secure every objective.
So he's sacrificing those 2 for psychological warfare. Has to make me fail a morale check. Tricky, but very doable. Very doable. Let's see what the Tau can do, and we'll come back to them at the end of their turn 3. This game has become a living meme.
Let me just say, he's been moaning for about 2 hours, and now he's had his way. You should see him. He's the grin on his face.
The level of salt that I displayed at the beginning of the battle report is legendary. It must be a Guinness Book World Record. I won't deny it. I won't deny it.
The dice are balanced, Tim. The dice are balanced.
So, it's still not like the guard had got off scot-free. We have got 4 guys left over here with the Lord Commissar. The priest has taken 2 wounds. The Ogrin fell in combat, unfortunately.
The shame.
He did okay. He made 2 out of 3 saves.
You've been added to the big plinth in the middle of the central square of the capital city in Tau, with all the enemy generals that have lost in combat to us. Your name has been added.
There's like four names on that list.
There's 4 names there.
And Trevor's now on it.
There's 4 now.
To Trevor the Ogrin. Yeah, PhD. So these guys got slaughtered down to 1 guy. These guys got slaughtered down to 2 guys, and this squad lost 5 men. So
because I had psychological warfare with double points on it.
Yeah, psychological warfare with double points.
So I had 4, and he only had enough command points to auto pass 1.
That was
so I
it.
had 3 units that should have failed. 3 units should have failed.
So
Guys.
under the watchful eye of this commissar, I rolled a 1. Just flat rolled a 1. Over here.
Didn't you have to kill 1 guy, yeah?
No, I didn't even need to kill a guy. Under the watchful eyes of this commissar, they'd lost 8, so even with the Lord Commissar's aura, they needed to get a 1 or I was going to blow a guy's head off. Now, I could still get a 1, but I didn't need to kill a guy, because I got a second 1. Now, they're going to be dicey over here, because I'd lost 5, which meant I was no longer leadership 8 for my Mordian buff, because he's got no one in base to base, and so it was just a flat leadership 7, good old guard sergeant, and got a third 1. 3 1s in a row, gentlemen, meant I was able to spend my last 2 CP to auto pass this and deny Jonathan a double doozy, double point psychological warfare.
On D3.
On a D3, a potential 6 points, which would have boosted him. And now the ironic thing is that there's so few guard left on the board, he probably just won't achieve it, he'll just kill them. So, he did secure 2, so he has gained a point, but the guard have trolled him and trolled him hard.
But you've got 1, 2, 3, 4,
I have
5,
3
6,
men
7,
left over here.
8, 9, 10.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, plus these 2 mortar squads, so 24, 30 men, and I've got these reserves, so I've still got 41 men. But this is the dead pile. It's pretty extensive. And this is the overflow dead pile, like overflow parking. This is the overflow dead pile. So it's it is a massacre. Draw. Blood and guts. Actually achievable. I only have to kill something in combat. Hold the line. Now, is that 3 units in my deployment zone? Yeah, so I have actually got that 1 because I'll have 1, 2, 3 with the mortars. And psychological warfare. Can I beat the Tau at their own game? I am the master of the psychological warfare here. So I think we'll keep that because I've got a good chance I can charge this drone and kill it.
I'm going to overwatch you. And you're going to die.
Oh, I can charge over here. So, I mean, it's not great. To be honest, though, I'm just thinking, I've definitely got to hold the line. Is it worth sacrificing blood and guts to psychological warfare? Because if I charge this drone, unless... Oh, no, because I could go that... No, I've got tactics. I've got tactics, ways and means.
Greed.
So we will keep it. We will keep it. Its potential 3 points, which would boost us into the lead. It's all to play for. Let's see what the guard can do going into their turn 3. The reserves are coming in. The guard are looking very thin on the ground, but we are not tabled. After turn 1, it was looking like the guard weren't going to get after turn 3. But over here, the stealth suits and, well, pretty much everything fired into the guardsmen that were here. And they just, the tower must have been rattled. They were like, how are these Guvesa still coming on after just being torn apart? And basically, nearly everything fired into the guardsmen that were here. And it had to come down to the commander to seal the deal. He was the only one that could do it.
Just got so lucky.
I was very lucky. And then there was like, the scraps of guardsmen here were killed. And so was this one. So Johnny got 5 points. He was one unit off getting 6 points. We would have given him D3 plus D3 on the
As
on the no
usual, due to
prisoner.
your scabby luck, you managed to prevent me from getting the points that I could, and then I rolled 1 on the D3, of course.
And then he rolled 1 on the D3 for it, so he actually got 2 points for having more guys here, because that was his double doozy strategic gambit, and then he got 1 point for no
killing
prisoners.
5 units.
He got 1 point for killing 5 units.
So I did kill 5 units.
I think, to be fair, I was screaming imperial prayers across the table at Jonathan to distract
I didn't have to
him.
ask him to be quiet,
And
because it was too...
I believe the neighbours are probably going to make a noise complaint, but it did work because we're still here. Now this guy, who I trumped up in the fluff as being like really cool for my regiment, has failed with 8 attacks to kill a single drone. So not too happy with him. Anyway, the rest, because he heroically intervened over here. So the tower 3 points ahead, which is not an insurmountable lead. Let's see what the guard are going to try and achieve in their turn. No prisoners! Ah, everyone is trying to kill everyone. Secure objective 6. Actually, finally achievable. And last but not least...
No, you've already got blood and guts.
Ah, yes, yeah, so I'll put that one to the bottom. That was actually a pretty good one as well. So I still got blood and guts from last turn. I was able to discard 1 card. So there we go.
That's a pretty good draw.
I can probably amazingly the plasma veterans, whilst weakened, are not out of the game, which is actually really significant because they're a really powerful unit. There's still 3 plasma bolts in this squad and a hail of pretty accurate lasgun fire. Let's see if the guard can claw something back. Let's go into guard turn 4. The Mordian Iron Guard continue to harry the Tau forces. Over here, the priest was very sneaky. He dropped through that vent and then recharged back in. so the stealth suits couldn't see him and they couldn't overwatch him then. He tied them up, which then allowed Power Sword Officer here to come in and make a good... He got a double 6 charge. He wanted it. Unfortunately, between the two of them, they weren't able to kill a stealth suit, but they have done a wound to one. The priest mad flailing with the chainsword, finally doing some damage. Over here, the Lord Commissar, on his 3rd round of 4 attacks against the drone, finally got a single 5 and killed it, which meant that we did get blood and guts. In terms of shooting, these veterans put everything into that stealth suit and were able to kill it, which was great. And then the 2 mortar teams respectively were able to kill... one was killed from a shotgun blast and then finished off from a mortar team, and the other one was killed by a mortar team. So we did get the 3 points, which does mean we've got D3 for no prisoners. So at the very least, we have 3 points, because we've got blood and guts for killing the drone. And then we've got secure objective 6 as well. I've moved an infantry squad over there onto it. The Power Fist officer did try to damage the Delphish, but unfortunately took a wound on Overwatch and didn't do anything. And so no prisoners, we've killed 3 units. So D3, the Emperor protects.
Of course.
It's the big 3, which means...
Could not have had more luck.
Which means that is 3 points, so that's 12, 14, 15. Oh, very doable for the Tau. Secure 5. That's gonna be tricky. Van in Lance, it's also going to be tricky.
So I'll probably get rid of those 2.
He's trading those 2 in.
Come on, something good.
Mission critical objective. Roll a dice, and that's the one you've got to get.
Whoa.
And if I held it and you take it off me, it means you get 2 points, I think. So you kind of want it to be 6.
What is it?
It's a 4, which is this one. So you've got it.
Okay.
Unless somehow I am able to. Kill a load of stealth suits, it's coming down to the wire. The guard are essentially playing Hero Hammer at this point. We've got more characters than we have infantry units left, apart from these veterans. Let's see what the Tau can do to just crush the remnants of this Imperial Guard force. The glorious endeavour of the Guard continues. The Tower have called it a farce, but that is not correct. It is a glorious endeavour of the Imperial Guard continues. The over here, the stealth suits fell back, but would stay within 3 inches of that objective to get it, because that was mission critical, and they did. So that's a double doozy pointer. So Johnny is on 14 at the moment. But I was within 3 inches to heroically intervene. This guy, again, just missed everything, despite the fact he was hitting on 3s. At the Commissar. And the mad bastard priest was able to get a wound through on the wounded stealth suit and kill one. So it's taken him like 4 or 5 rounds of combat.
Like 5 attacks with rerolls.
Yeah, exactly. So he's doing all right. Although I did forget it the first time, didn't I? Over here, though, the veterans were slaughtered and swinging all the way round to here. The 2-man squad over there was slaughtered. And the commander was killed. So veterans...
You look here, though. You had one guy left.
Yeah. So just to understand the levels of salt that the tower are currently experiencing...
It's not salt, it's the levels of luck that the guard are experiencing. I've been totally chilled. I've not insulted at any level. It is just ridiculous. Like... So
salt.
I wanted to shoot this guy
against characters.
But after these guys shot, he of course had
one man left,
which blocked my shooting.
Which meant he had to shoot. He didn't have to shoot him, but he basically couldn't go after the character that he wanted to go.
Out guard.
He wiped out those 2 units there, yeah. So the guard are reduced to characters and mortars, but this is all that the guard need. This time. Defend objective 4. Not easy. Not easy at all. Well, if I kill you, I can do it. Secure 4. Ooh, it's all down to objective 4. And big game hunter. That is a difficult draw for the guard to get. So I don't think I can get big game hunter.
Interesting. Similar.
I can't get big game hunter. Secure 4 is... Because currently you will be... what, you're currently...
Secure 4 is doable. Defend 4 is difficult.
Yeah, because currently we're equal on points, but if you get that one in your turn with defend objective 2, then you will be 2 points ahead, but I'll potentially have line breaker, so you'll be 1 point ahead. So I only need to get 1 point, gentlemen, so I'm going to get rid of those 2. Gentlemen. And this is it. Area denial. That's it, gentlemen. That is it. That is, if there are no enemy units within 12 inches of the centre, D3 points, and it's a double doozy. That is a bullshit card. The Tau are not happy about it.
It's just the definition of a robbery, isn't it, really?
The Tau are not happy about it.
Absolutely murdered the guard. They've been robbed of, getting 3 1s on your leadership saves. I only needed 1 to get double points on that, but no. So could have got 6 points on that, but no, got 1 point. Just absolutely, you have got everything your way this game. Everything your way.
Well, as they say, Johnny, the Emperor protects. It has been a brutal battle. The Imperial Guard and Tau have fought tooth and nail. The greater good has faced off against the Imperial Creed. Starting with the Imperial Guard, we had some scattered shooting, and the mortars, they saved their potentially last volley as their best volley, and unleashed 11 shots from one squad, and I believe it was 17 from another squad. And we were able to kill 2 of the Tau Fire Warriors. So it was a good good burst of fire. Was in combat with the Devilfish and managed to do D3 wounds to it. And when he got the 3. I should say in their fights back, Stealth Suit did manage to do a wound to the priest, but he is holding on. So because of that, we actually did manage to get Secure 4, which puts us on 15 points. There's no enemy units within 12 inches of the centre of the board for area denial, and that is a double doozy strategic gambit. So it's D3 double. Let's see what the guard can get. It's 2, therefore that is 4 points on 15. Sorry. No, we're on 19. +1 for secure, +4 for the area denial. That is against the Tau's 16 points, because they did get defend objective 4, and there's nothing I could do about that. So, that was turn 5 Imperial Guard. This could be the end of the game. We're going to roll the dice. Let's see what happens. The game goes on. That is very important for the Tau. That's a big one for the Tau. The Guard do not have any units within 12 inches.
It's like I'm copying you now.
Secure objective 2. No, that's objective 4.
No, that's objective 4.
Oh, that's objective 2. 6. So that's another big one for the Tau. And secure objective 6. What a massive draw for the Tau at this late stage in the game. They are going to get D3 points for that.
Oh, this game
they are going to get secure 2, and they are going to get secure 6. Well, potentially.
It's close.
We have to take that leadership test for that fire warrior. That's actually game critical now.
So that he lost 3 of his buddies.
And he's leadership 7. So he's okay. Because now that's how fire... The reason that's important, guys, is that's how fire warrior can secure that, and there's nothing that the non-obsec guard officer can do.
That's what happens when you've only got officers.
That's what happens when you've only got officers, guys.
And mortars.
And mortars. So that's potentially 1 point, 2 points. So at the very least, the Tau could draw the game. At the very least, the Tau could draw the game.
Oh, it's tense, gentlemen.
Gentlemen, it is tense. Let's see what the Tau can do. So the Tau, that fantastic draw really has helped them. Their shooting was on par as always. The firepower from this and the Fireblade was able to kill the junior officer off, and these guys were able to kill the priest off. Finally, and then Missile Guy over here put everything into the Warlord. Johnny was like, "Is there a difference between these two Lord Commissars?" And I was like, "There's a little difference."
His eye twitched like
his eye twitching, yeah. So, yeah, so Johnny has got Warlord now. So even if he gets a 1 on the area now, he will be 1 point ahead.
So whatever this dice is how many points you've got to catch up by.
Exactly.
Oh, I have to say, you know, the guard, you have to literally stamp them out. You have to kill every one of them, like cockroaches or rats. You know what they say about rats, you know, they're never more than 6 inches from an objective.
Let's see what you get.
Right, okay, let's see. Come on. Big points. Yes!
It's a big one. It's a big one.
Oh, yes. Right, that's taken me 3.
They call this game Strategic Gambit for a very good reason. The Guard drew as their first card Secure Objective 3. That was very doable. We can secure Objective 3. It's underneath this mortar. The next 2 cards we drew were Defend Objective 3 and Kingslayer. Now, something me and Johnny weren't sure about is, and I've seen it played in tournaments sometimes, is where if you hold a Defend Objective 3 card at the end of the game, even if it was the last turn and you haven't actually held it for 2, you do get it. But we weren't sure about that, and we didn't want to base a very important game on something we weren't sure about. And the third card that the Guard drew was Kingslayer. So rather than going for something and trying to spend ages looking up Defend Objective 3, because it's been a long game already, the Guard did a strategic gambit. We traded those 2 away and got a double doozy for Supremacy. And Supremacy is 1, 2, 3 points. And it's a double. So at the very least, the Guard have got a draw. If it ends.
I got 4 points last term.
Yeah. Let's see what the roll is. This is a double.
Secure and Supremacy, so you do need to get...
No, because it's worth 2.
Yeah, and you'll get 3. You need to get 4.
No, I was ahead by... So Johnny has reminded me he did get Warlord, which means that he is actually 1 point ahead if I get a shite roll on Supremacy. So let's see what the Guard can get. It's a 4, which means the Guard are ahead by 1 point. Right. Johnny is going to roll the dice to see if the game continues. And a 1, 2, or 3, it does not continue.
Come on. Yes!
The game does continue.
One last chance to not be robbed blind.
So we've done a turn 7 summary because there's so little left on the board.
You moved 1 model.
I literally moved 1 model. So the Tau came over here and were able to burst cannon down the commander that was holding that objective.
With help from him.
With help from this guy.
30-inch missiles.
And that meant they were able to secure that objective, which got them the double points that they needed. And they also secured another objective. Which one was it?
It was objective 4.
Objective 4, because they had the commander, and they moved advanced the commander and the devilfish onto that.
The commander got a 5 on his price.
Yes. So that got them 3 points, which meant they were 2 points ahead over the Imperial Guard. That was their turn 7. They could do nothing else. They were 2 points in the lead. The Imperial Guard drew at first the Hammer of the Emperor, Defend Objective 5 and Defend Objective 2. Now we couldn't score those 2, so we traded them away and drew troops on the ground. But that was going to be really difficult for us to get as well. I mean, we couldn't get it, which meant we could only get Hammer of the Emperor, which we were able to do because I used both mortar squads to blast that lone fire warrior, which I hadn't targeted because I wasn't sure if the game was going to go on to turn 7, which got me 1 point. And then the Lord Commissar, the remaining officer of this group, strolled casually into Linebreaker and got the draw. So that's it, guys. that is the end of the game. Turn 7.
Oh, so
draw. Let's talk about this in the end game wrap up. So end game wrap up, like that was a classic Tau versus Guard battle report. Could not have been any different. And it's also a classic Mordian Glory versus Scholar Progenium battle report. These two armies
emotionally battered from that game.
I'm emotionally drained. This has literally been an emotional roller coaster. After that turn 1, Johnny will tell you, I was spewing salt, I was getting in a grump, he had to calm me down.
Dehydrated, the
dehydration, and the salt levels. And what a comeback. I mean, and not even a comeback, but just what a turn of the luck.
Pulled a comeback up several times, like stopping me from getting doubled D3.
That was the moment
on the psychological warfare, and then stopping me getting the kill 6 units with just some lucky saves. Just every time you needed something, you needed a 6, you got a 6. Every time you needed a 1, you got a 1. Some decisive stuff, but it's what kept the game exciting, what kept the game fun, because you kept running around with your officers doing cool stuff and just clinging on, picking up those points. And the stealth just couldn't quite stamp out the cockroaches. These filthy humans.
But there's a couple of funny bits, because I said...
The
great unwashed... Well, not with the Mordians. Not with the Mordians. Very careful about washings there. What we said...
Strict hygiene.
Strict hygiene.
Ablutions.
Police that moustache! So what I said to Johnny in the fluff when we were having a little break between turns was like the Tower used to facing down Imperial Guard regiments, and many of the regiments that get sent against them are just conscript regiments, tithed regiments, not elite regiments of the Guard, not regiments of renown. So often they'll just hit them with a hammer blow. The formations will shatter, and the Guard will flee. So the Tau did that again in their turn 1. They came in and they punished the Mordian Iron Guard relentlessly. They almost fired off all their ammo in one go, thinking it's these are another regiment. The Guard will run away. These are Mordian Iron Guard though, and that's something I don't think the Tau fluff-wise took into account, because they could not make them run. They could not make them break.
Yeah, the Mordians did not run this time.
Not a single step backwards. And because of that, that's when the Tau's luck started turning against them, and we were sort of imagining this in our heads, that the Tau were getting spooked, they were low on ammo counts, like the stealthers were like, we're down to our last 50 rounds, they just keep coming. So it was a very interesting game, sort of cinematically. It's a very interesting game emotionally. I have to say, I don't normally get emotional over sort of 40k, but this genuinely was forging the narrative. And in terms of tactics, it was just the Guard throwing waves of men onto objectives. And it was kind of interesting. Something I've thought about just now is the Tau were drawing lots of cards, which meant they didn't need to leave their deployment zone.
But we weren't making many points on those cards.
Weren't making as many points, and by not leaving the deployment zone, it allowed the Guard to push out across the whole map. I mean, at one point we had a squad, a 3-man squad moving down here. Exactly. But by you not moving, it meant I had ball control, which meant I could claw myself into that game. You didn't need to move, but it just meant the Guard had a chance.
It was through gambling cards. It wasn't that I just drew 4s and 6s. I would draw 2 that I couldn't use and trade them, and I would get the 4, the 2, or the 6 come up or something like that.
But that's not to say the Tau did anything wrong.
The gambling is like this. I love this. I don't play Maelstrom very often at all, but I do love the gambling.
This is our favourite one.
It's the most fluid. You can rack up those points. It's very interesting. You never know what's going to happen next. You never know what's going to be the double value card. I got some very easy double values, but they were worth 1 point, only double to 2.
Yeah.
Tim got some, he would fall behind, lose men, and then get a big roll,
get a big gamble,
points,
get a big gamble.
Back up. So it's
well, it's just
absolutely excellent game, so exciting.
I mean, the Tau.
How many Guard did I kill that game?
Over 110.
Yeah.
Over 110.
All the ogre.
This is all dead. This is the Guard dead pile. This is, like I said, the overflow car park for the dead.
You've got one commissar.
One commissar and some mortars, and that's all the Guard have left.
Stealth suits are proud up there.
Stealth suits are up there. Hammerhead pushing down here. not Hammerhead, sorry, Devilfish and Super Crew. We didn't quite get the Warlord.
And a Commander and suit and another.
Oh yeah, Commander and a suit down there. So the Tau definitely have more points left over, but both sides are actually pretty brutalised.
Yeah, well, I've lost all my infantry and 1.5 units of stealth suits and all my drones.
The one thing I would say, and this is the last tactics thing I want to say before one last fluff point, is in the pure infantry army, people say, guard isn't that manoeuvrable. That's just not true, simply because I've got such a footprint. Now, that doesn't mean I've got great force concentration, but it means I've got great board control.
For me, it's the characters, not just the infantry, but the characters. Characters, when they've got 2 or 3 within running distance of objectives, you can split 3 characters that are quite centrally placed onto 3 objectives, all within sort of 18 inches or so of their original placement where they were, say, turn 4. And you just pick up points so easily, just running little units, little scraps. If you leave a man alive, you can run onto an objective with a simple order, and it's just you're constantly stamping out little.
And they've always got power weapons as well.
Yeah,
power weapons saved me this game. There's no doubt about it. I could not have dealt with those stealth suits without power weapons.
Those stealth suits would just massacre you without the power weapons.
Yeah, without the power. So like again, it's interesting running things that on paper people will tell you aren't great. Actually, do help.
Within the horde.
Yeah.
You've got your horde of
hidden
infantry.
power weapons.
You've got your power weapons and your power special weapons, just dotted around. Plasma, melter flamers. They all have their time. It's not situational. They will all get their chance to shine, and they'll always make that points back.
Yeah.
Over the course of the game. So and often it's game changing. Playing against them, they always feel like the guard always feel like they've got some game changing little thing.
They've got something up their sleeve. Something up the sleeve.
If you take those power weapons, if you take those special weapons.
So and that's the whole point. And
in terms of my Tau, I was really pleased. It's the first time that I've taken Pure-Tide Engram chip and through Unity Devastation on a Fireblade. But it's really good. The 6s give you an additional AP -1. If I'd had him near the stealth suits, he would have absolutely murdered stuff. And I was kind of thinking I would hop him out near the stealth suits using a transport, but in the end I didn't need to. Just holding the lines, killing a couple of extra guardsmen, a turn with pulse weapons was great. And I didn't really get to use the main point of the battalion, which is the one where you can move and advance and shoot without penalty. Very much because I was constantly having to secure objective 4, so I didn't make use of that much. But the unique stratagem that comes with that cast, which allows you to fire twice with a unit as long as it's at the nearest target, that's just combined with stealth suits.
Yeah.
When it all comes together, when you've got a unit of 6 stealth suits, they're advancing and moving and shooting and then shooting again, they can really tear through like unit after unit and just move around, score objectives. So they're really good.
Absolutely. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this battle report. We're running a little low on battery, unfortunately, so we're going to have to wrap it up there.
Another classic. The rivalry continues between Tau and Guard. Tau are really bothered, but the Guard are just like raging in their room like angry teenagers. Oh, the damn Guard!
Now what we're gonna
damn Tau.
In the after action report, I'm going to give you a little bit of a fluff on this guy because it actually relates to this battle report.
The battle played out how his fluff was
exactly
before. It's interesting.
We thought this was a sequel, but it turns out it's a prequel.
Yeah, this battle.
So I hope you guys enjoyed this battle report. Go on to the after action report, which will be up hopefully the day after this is posted, for a bit more fluff and a bit more in-depth tactical analysis. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. We definitely have, despite the fact the emotional toll it has taken on us. Thank you for watching.
So tired.
And I'll see you guys next time.